Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ashbury TV Political Update. My name is Clinton Ofrom. This morning, we'll be looking at the reappointment of Professor Mahmood, the INEC boss, by the Senate. About a week after President Muhammad Buhari's request for confirmation, the Senate has confirmed Mahmood Yakubu as the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. The confirmation is for second and final term. Although the president's letter was read at the Senate last week, he had on October 27 announced his decision to reappoint the INEC boss. Mr. Yakubu was first appointed INEC chairman in November 2015, taking over from Atahiru Jiga, who supervised the 2015 general election. His confirmation was sequel to the presentation of a report of Senate Committee on INEC. Kabiru Gaya, chairman of the committee, said Mr. Mahmood was found suitable for the position without petition or incriminatory report against him. Let's get talking. Joining me on today's program is Hassan Abdullahi, all the way from Borno, who is the president of Borno Literary Society and also a humanitarian. Welcome, Hassan.
Thank you very much for having me, Clinton.
Okay, let me get your thoughts. Looking at the confirmation from Senate for Professor Yakubu Mahmood as the INEC chairman, do you consider this appointment to be based on merit?
I think, Mahmood Yakubu is the first INEC chairman to be reappointed into his role. Unlike the way a lot of people might think, Jega was only lucky to conduct 2 elections, but because his term did not expire until he got the opportunity to conduct the 2015 election. But Professor Mahmood Yakubu, on the other hand, has now been reappointed for the second time by the president. There might be some legal issues here or there, because the law that stipulates for the president to nominate the chairman, he must consult with the Council of State before he gets to do that, before he forwards the name to the Senate. I am not sure if the president actually went through with that, because to the best of my knowledge, I know there was a meeting with head of states about concerning insecurity around October 23rd, and there was another yes, and there was another Council of State meeting around 27th August. But the communique that came out did not mention anything to do with discussing or actually talking about the consideration of Professor Mahmood Yakubu for forwarding to the Senate. That could be maybe a function of oversight, but we don't know. If there was actually an oversight, then there may be a room for them to say, okay, they did it as an oversight and did not specifically consider it in the Council of State. If that is the case, but which the presidency has not yet come out and stipulated without any doubt, then that could be fairly legal. But if not, then his appointment might be subject to legal battles and shenanigans. Apart from that, I think he is reappointed based on merit because he has demonstrated fairly that he could handle this kind of things, looking at the way he conducted the 2015 election. And then don't forget, he did a lot of by-elections for governorship and other senatorial and House of
Representatives. Let us come to that. Let us come to that.
Okay.
In your own assessment, do you think he did well during last year's general elections?
Fairly well, yes. But within the confines of what he is, his office is allowed to do, and the laws that govern electoral processes in Nigeria, he has done fairly well. Don't forget, Nigeria has had democracy for only roughly 20 years, 21 years.
Okay.
And we've had to go through this evolution of the actual laws that will work, because Nigerians are pretty, apathetic people when it comes to actually engaging the political process. Because if you notice, the people who actually register to vote hardly turn out to come and vote when it's time to vote. And a lot of these things have their origins in the way our electoral laws are stipulated. And what Professor Mahmood has done in his capacity as chairman is actually go through with the law, and he has done fairly well. I saw a few reports about election observers, external election observers from the European Union, from the African Union, who scored him fairly well, considering the Nigerian electoral landscape and atmosphere, and the
Okay.
threads he has to go through to ensure that elections are, that can be acceptable to all the parties and stakeholders involved.
Okay, what area do you think amendment should be done? From what you have said so far, what area do you think there should be amendment?
Well, if we are saying the truth, about Nigeria, and our electoral body is called INEC, Independent National Electoral Commission. But the fact is that our electoral body is not entirely independent. And INEC is still under the presidency. It does not have its own, standing, which is independent, and its own funds do not come directly into the coffers of the agency. It goes through the presidency. So our electoral body is not actually as independent as it ought to be, because if we are following or copying the federal presidential system from the United States of America, and you see the way their electoral body is, it's independent from its grounding up to its processes. It has nothing
Okay.
to wait for the government for it to stand. So where we can improve is to ensure that our electoral body is truly independent. No government since the inception of this last republic has been able to do that. But I suspect and I hope that when we continue this evolution, at some point, fairly close, we are close to that, we may get an INEC that is truly independent.
Now, the INEC chairman has come up to say that there will be introduction of electronic voting system for next election. He has given reasons, and he believes this should work. Do you consider this as a way forward to salvage issues of electoral malpractice in Nigeria?
Well, anytime when technology has to be deployed for complicated and logistical problems, you have to look at the advantages and disadvantages of actually using that technology. If we do have the infrastructure that would support the use of technology, then I think we should go ahead and use it. Don't forget, it is not without its own flaws, because we know even the United States do not really, just go with using technology all through. It starts from actually having the ballots in the usual traditional manner, and then it caps it off with people who want to use the electronic voting system. If indeed there is a way that we can guarantee that there will not be issues like power outages, the lack of good internet access, and and the infrastructure too, and the people who will man them have the capacity to run a smooth election without hitches. And we can also avoid, hacking or data breaches using technology. Then I think it's perfectly fine, because that will provide more opportunity for more people to go into the electoral process, who have not been, voting. We know there are a lot of Nigerians in diaspora. This would be a very good opportunity for them to join and let their voices be heard in the electoral process going on here back home. And also, this will clean up a lot of the atmosphere where you hear conflicting results that will be coming in, if everything is centralized and it's based on a fairly protected technology that can be relied upon. And if that is the case, if we can guarantee that, then yes, we should be doing that. If not, we should be careful not to go and create another nightmare, because there's this tendency with everything Nigerian for incompetence to creep in. And if incompetence creeps in, or these materials or infrastructure are not actually well maintained or deployed the way they are supposed to be, it could cause
Okay.
harm than good.
All right, we'll take a quick break. And when we return, the program continues. Stay tuned.
Do not forget to follow us on all our social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Turn on the notification button to get notified on our videos. Thank you.
All right, welcome back. We're still discussing on the confirmation made by Senate yesterday over the appointment or reappointment of INEC boss, Professor Yakubu Mahmood. Mr. Hassan Abdullahi, you have said a lot. You made mention of the use of electronic voting system as the best that could happen for the country. You cited issues and you gave out your reasons. Now, I want to get your thought on this. Rural areas, those residing in those areas, how possible do you think we'll be able to accommodate them or incorporate them in the voting? How do you sensitize them? What do you think should be done to get them acquainted with the new system? Because they are used to, or they are well known with the old system of voting. So how possible do we educate these people to start using electronic system of voting to exercise their franchise?
Yes, you see, before we get to how we sensitize them or bring awareness to them on how to use the electronic system itself, we have to see what the electronic system actually even looks like. Because at the end of the day, people who develop these softwares and programs or with algorithms, it's a matter of service delivery. If it is built, taken into account, and the kind of people that are going to engage in the process and their level of education and awareness and interaction with technology, then we can fairly know what it's going to look like and how complicated it is, and what we need to do to supplement the gaps on how to use that. At the base level, we already know that and majority of Nigerians have access to cell phones, and they interact quite well with these handheld devices. At least most people now use Android phones. Maybe not in the rural area, but even those who are in the rural areas, they use these normal phones that have been here almost 2 decades now. So at least we understand that the basics of actually engaging with an electronic device, they understand it. But those who will develop this electronic system, they will have to, insert the context of the rural Nigeria into its development, and understand how and these people who are not really educated. It's just to make the system fairly simple, the way it can, people who are in the rural areas who are not very educated can engage the process and understand it fairly easily. If those who will develop this electronic voting system will put that into account, then I don't foresee us having too much problem with the people, because it's just going to be a manifestation of how well the program works and how simple it is to use, so that if it is very simple, then good. If it's not and it's complicated, then we might not be doing it's not going to be it's not going to take us to where we want to be, because it will just create unnecessary problems.
All right, the INEC chairman said there will be a test run of the system or the new system in Anambra State governorship election coming up next year. With that, they were able to run a proper evaluation if they can continue or go back to the old system. Now, before you go, your last word, do you think Nigeria have all it takes to sustain this? Do we have the capacity, the financial muscle, or the machinery to take care of the new electronic voting system that is about to be introduced?
Well, what I think is that at the end of the day, as I said earlier, it's going to be a matter of how this thing is rolled out and how user friendly it is to the ordinary Nigerian. If they do succeed after the test run and the results are good and we can see it for ourselves, and then I think there will be no problem. But if we do not get to achieve that, then perhaps we may want to take it easy first and see how best to deploy this kind of technologies. I am for technology. I think technology solves a lot of problems, and when machines replace people, they tend to do the work more effectively and faster, and that is at the end of the day what matters. And if people can become if they can feel that the electoral process is free and fair, then we are going to get more people to engage the electoral process. I think it is important because as a country of over 200 million people, the people who engaged in the last presidential election, I think they were not even up to 22 million. That is poor. That is very poor. You see, that means less than 20% of people, are actually deciding the fate of the remaining 180 million, which is very, very poor, because at the core of democracy is the rule of the majority, and for the people, by the people, and the way Abraham Lincoln said it. So, and that is my position on that, actually.
All right, here is where we'll call it a wrap on the program. Thank you, Mr. Hassan Abdullahi, speaking to us all the way from Borno State.
Thank you, Clinton. It's good to be here.
All right, and don't forget to follow us on the social media platforms for more political updates and information. Bye for now.
Do not forget to follow us on all our social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel.